You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
I have absolutely zero fucks to give about that game. I don't care what happens. I swear to God, I don't. It makes no difference to me whatsoever.
So just beating Alabama, especially the way that they did, that everything else is just gravy after that.
Exactly. I mean, honest to God, and you guys, I will record this right now so that we have documentation of it. I don't care if Oregon beats Ohio State 72-0 next week. I really could care less.
I assume we're going to talk about the bowl games yesterday. I have to admit, I actually said to myself, I skipped most of the Winter Classic to watch these, to watch college football. I watched the Outback Bowl, actually, first off, which was a great game.
Yeah. Just adding to the SEC's woes for the day.
Yeah. And I got to say, there's no way that they make the Wisconsin kicker do the sprinting drills with everyone else, because damn.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually dedicated myself to college football, and I decided I would experience American sporting culture for the day. I've got to say, when
Did you have, just barbecue and
barbecue and flags and fireworks and guns,
celebrated American New Year's, watching college football bowl games and a rose parade.
But I gotta say, in the Sugar Bowl, when it was 21-3 Alabama, I was like, oh, this is going to get ugly.
Yeah, I was afraid for a minute. I was afraid that it could have started to get out of hand.
Honest to God,
I wasn't so bold as to post, oh, no, Alabama blowout.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that really did not sit well with me.
Second quarter.
I was never worried, believe it or not. Even when they were down 21-3, I was not concerned.
I was worried because it was 21-6 at one point, and they had gone on a 21-3 run. And I was like, I wasn't ready to write them off entirely, but I was like, Ohio State's got to do something now before this gets really bad. And they did.
The reason I wasn't concerned was because I saw how well the Buckeyes were moving the ball on Alabama. And I also saw that, I'm not going to say they gift-wrapped 2 touchdowns to Alabama, although they kind of did with those 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
But what I saw in the field, and it's always been the biggest concern with the Big Ten of late, they're not fast enough to keep up with the SEC teams. But I didn't see that last night. I thought, win, lose, or draw, these guys are playing, the speed is not an issue in this game.
I want to say, I want to give props to Alabama's punter. Damn, that guy, he knows how to punt a football.
He had a game, didn't he?
Something like 67 yards punting or something? Ridiculous. 3 straight pinned within the 5.
He averaged 55 yards a punt last night. And,
wow.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how far into it you guys want to go, but the Buckeyes, in my book last night, it wasn't a matter of Alabama having an off game or the Buckeyes putting together the perfect game to have the upset. I just think they just bitch slapped Alabama last night. It's as simple as that. There were times in that game where I was just stunned at how dominant the Buckeyes were over the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. It was just blowing my mind. I don't think the game was as close as the score indicates. I really don't. I think that the Buckeyes were pretty much, well, I won't say in control all night, but for 3/4 of that game, they were clearly in charge. I'll put it that way.
I mean, Alabama almost came back at the end there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Alabama's a good team. And I think another thing that's getting lost in this is that people think that everybody's going, wow, Alabama really sucks because look what happened. No.
Well, it's not just because Alabama lost. It's because the whole SEC had a terrible bowl season.
Yeah.
Mississippi State lost to freaking Georgia Tech. I understand the triple option's scary, but...
Yeah, but you know what, though? I don't know that we didn't kind of oversell.
Ole Miss got dump trucked.
Jesus.
Ole Miss beat Alabama. people were almost waiting because of how well TCU played. I think people were waiting, well, Ohio State's going to get blown out, so now we can have the argument, well, they should have been there instead of them.
Yeah.
But I think that's well done and gone.
I mean, TCU, okay, you guys had a discussion. I kind of gave my insight on that whole, did TCU deserve to be there or not?
There's one team that shouldn't have been there, but
Right.
But you couldn't keep them out because they were undefeated.
See, but you know what I'm
That's
hoping
Florida
though?
State.
What I'm hoping is that this year with Florida State's performance, that maybe next year the committee will look at it and go, yeah, you know what, they're undefeated, or whoever it might be, Florida State or anyone else, they might look at it and go, yeah, they're undefeated, but they've struggled in every game, and you know what, they're just not one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Well, but I read something where no team has ever had the season Florida State had this year. Like, no team had ever won, I think it's either 6 or 7 games or fewer, or games or more by 7 points or less.
Yeah.
Like, no team had ever not just gone undefeated with that, but simply won 7 games by 7 points or less in a college season.
Well,
in Division 1A.
Well, what happened to Florida State is what people had been saying was going to happen all along. Just wait until they play a good team.
And if you listen to what Greg and I said on Basically a Football Show, we said that if they made the same turnovers that they made all season, Oregon will make you pay for those turnovers.
Oh, and God did.
Where did the game turn? 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter, or 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter, all of them leading the points.
Yep.
Wasn't it the
Especially
third quarter
the hilarious... Huh?
Wasn't it the third quarter where they imploded?
Yeah, third quarter.
Yeah.
Sorry. And the hilarious Jameis Winston falling backwards. Oh my God, where's the football? And running the other direction.
Yeah, it was clear. Yeah, you can make a really good argument that one team didn't deserve to be there, but it's not Ohio State, Alabama, or Oregon. It was Florida State. Had no business being in this playoff. Simple as that.
Yeah, TCU they looked like they really had a point to prove.
Oh man, did they ever?
Now Ole Miss definitely fell off towards the end of the year, but TCU still beating up an SEC team in SEC country,
right?
Like that. That's still pretty impressive.
But I think we can all agree that this college football playoff really worked.
Oh, yes.
It's been fantastic, yeah.
Yep. I can't, yesterday was the most important New Year's Day football games that we've seen ever, and they played out tremendously. You know, even though Oregon pulled away late, it was still a very close game early. And then when they did pull away, they pulled away in such amazing fashion that you couldn't you couldn't look away because it was like you're waiting for Oregon to keep scoring.
How many times have we said it though? You can't. You got to beat Oregon for 4 quarters. You can beat them in the first half, but you better be able to hang with them.
Michigan State did.
Yeah, in the second half because they are just so, their tempo is just so killer that they're going to just run past you, and that's exactly what happened again. And that's why I swear I'm not saying this because I'm trying to downplay the Buckeyes. I just don't see Alabama or Ohio State being able to hang with those guys for a full game. It's just too hard to do.
But Greg, apparently you have history on your side.
I do indeed. I think
apparently Oregon's like 0-11 against Ohio State.
Yeah, well, and Ohio State was 0 whatever against the SEC until last night, so it shows you what history means. You know,
the thing that's so nice too is the SEC lost and Florida State lost. So there's no teams from the South in the national championship game for the first time in forever, and it feels nice.
I'm not an SEC basher. I love SEC football. I really do. But I got to admit, it is kind of nice that they have no say in it at all this year. And one more question. Somebody brought up, is Alabama done? No. Simple answer. They're not done. They'll be back next year. They'll be just as good as ever.
If anything, Nick Saban is even more pissed off.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love whenever Alabama loses is just the look on Saban's face. Because you can just tell how he's just fuming inside.
We were watching the open to that game last night, and when they did the pregame interview, I looked at my girlfriend and I said, "Does he seem nervous to you?" And she said, "He did a little bit." And I thought, "There's no way." But he seemed like he was a little nervous. And I thought, well, if he's nervous, we've got him. That's it, you know. But I don't know, man. I'm just, like I said, I'm walking on fucking sunshine today. I don't care what happens next week. It makes no difference to me. None at all. We beat Alabama, and that's good enough.
I don't really care what happens either because everything that I needed to happen happened. I wanted Florida State to lose. Great. And I love Alabama losing. Great. So if Ohio State beats Oregon, sure. Fine. They deserved it. And if Oregon wins, well, great. They've finally get their national championship they've been lusting for so long.
What I find interesting is that because Oregon is the higher-ranked team, they're going to be the home team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means we won't have to see those stupid white and black black and white road uniforms for Oregon, which means that if Oregon wins the national title, they will actually win it in school colors.
Blasphemies.
I know.
Speaking of the uniforms, what did you guys think of Ohio State's slight alteration of their uniforms last night?
I didn't even notice.
Didn't you? Okay.
No, yeah. They look the same pretty much.
What was the big change? I didn't notice anything.
The sleeve stripes are different.
They
right?
went back to the sleeve stripes they wore. I think they quit wearing them.
The old Steelers style ones.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I like it better, but I think it's just a lateral move. I don't know that was a great improvement or downgrade or anything. It looked fine.
The biggest abominations uniform wise yesterday were the giant chrome Nike swooshes on all 4 teams' jerseys.
Yeah, the swooshes did look a little bigger, didn't they?
Yeah.
And chrome.
Well, they're not chrome, Mike. They have the characteristics of the diamonds of the championship rings that all the teams are playing for.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, well, no, because it's not pure chrome. There's little lines in it to make it look like a diamond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the beauty of Nike. Nothing is ever what it seems to be with them. I
can't wait to see their Browns uniforms. The uniforms will be second to the bullshit that they use to justify the terrible decisions they make.
I know. Well, we're only about 3.5 months away at this point from seeing them.
Yep.
Speaking of that, I just want to point out, guys, that with this being our first show of 2015, we are now in technically our 4th calendar year of basically a sports show. We had 2012, 13, 14, and now 15.
Woo!
Wow.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Speaking, I didn't watch much of the Winter Classic.
I watched the last about 15 minutes of it, yeah.
I watched the 3rd period.
Mm-hmm. Is it just me, or did the Winter Classic seem really underwhelming and not very special this year?
Well,
no, it wasn't just you.
I think there's a lot of reasons to it, though, because I agree. This one didn't have the same buzz to it. Okay, we've seen both these teams in Winter Classics already.
Mm-hmm.
The game was being played at Nationals Park, right?
Yep.
Which, it's a very nice baseball stadium, but it doesn't have the allure of the Big House or Fenway or anything like that. It's a very nice baseball stadium, and the view that it had of the Capitol Dome was gone. So there's not even that. It's just
they had that little mini Capitol building, though.
Right, they had the mini Capitol Dome and reflecting pool, which was kind of neat. It wasn't snowing. There wasn't the visual aspects to it. The Blackhawks were basically wearing their regular road jerseys. The Capitals completely invented a jersey to wear.
It looked downright pleasant. It didn't look cold at all.
Right. It was still like 34 degrees. It was cold, but it was sunny and no weather to speak of. Like normally, you know how they change in the 3rd period? They switch sides midway through to make it even because there's wind or something. There wasn't even any wind. They said, there's no conditions, so we're just going to play through. We're not going to switch sides.
It was just, you know what it was to me? It was a hockey game being played at National Stadium. That's what it was.
Yeah. And I mean technically speaking, it was probably the best ice conditions and the most well-executed Winter Classic. Probably the most exciting one with a goal 12.9 seconds left to win it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, if you want the closest any Winter Classic has gotten to actually replicating playing on a frozen pond would have been last year's with Toronto and Detroit.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing to point out is, you know how like they have the 24/7 series?
Yes.
About the games.
Right.
And this was the first year it wasn't on HBO. And one of the reasons was because HBO, they didn't want to do Capitals Blackhawks. They wanted to do King Sharks and only King Sharks. Where the NHL was like, no, but we want it for the Winter Classic. They're like, yeah, that's kind of boring. We want King Sharks because we haven't done it yet.
They've already done Blackhawks and Capitals.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing too.
And like I watched the series on Epix. There's all the 3 that have been done so far. The 4th one comes out on Tuesday, and it's fine. It's still neat. I love watching it because I'm a diehard hockey fan. I love seeing kind of that fun stuff. But I've seen them.
Yeah, that was the whole problem with this game too. Is that you had the stadium, which is great for baseball, not so much for hockey, and 2 teams that had already been there, and it was really kind of like we've just seen all this before. There was absolutely nothing special about it to me. It was just, like I said, a hockey game being played outdoors at a baseball stadium. That's what it was.
And they got a 2.3 overnight rating, which, if that holds as it is, that'll be the lowest rated Winter Classic in the 7 years of it.
Well, they've just got to add more seats to the rotation. Throw in Denver and the Twin Cities into the Winter Classic rotation, not the Stadium Series. In fact, it might be time to kill the Stadium Series.
Well, I think the Stadium Series works for like the smaller markets, but there's no reason that Minnesota shouldn't be a Winter Classic.
Yes, there is, actually. There's one very good reason.
What's that?
You guys ever watch them?
Oh, it's not, I'm not talking about the team itself.
Oh, okay.
I
was going to say, because that is, I saw them on New Year's Eve. That is one boring-ass hockey team, let me tell you.
But Minnesota is the state of hockey. If there's any, quote-unquote, smaller market NHL team that can host a Winter Classic.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's Minna-freaking-Soda.
Absolutely. On that point, I agree, but their best bet would be to have two other teams play in Minnesota because
no. You have the Winter Classic in Minnesota. You have the Bruins come over, and then you have them wear like Boston College.
Well,
Golden Gopher fullbacks. Wild
Bruins is #rivalry night.
Of course it is.
Oh,
there you go.
Sake. They already did that.
No, what they need is if you really want to make it interesting, bring the Stars back, put them in old North Stars uniforms, and do that. That might be fun.
You know what? I heard that was the rumor for the Stadium Series game that they would send Dallas up there, and how if you put the Dallas Stars and Minnesota North Stars throwbacks against the Minnesota Wild,
that's cold-blooded,
in Minnesota.
Man. That's cold-blooded. That is cold-blooded.
That would be terrible.
That would be terrible, but then the alternative is to put the Wild in North Stars jerseys, and that would make my head explode.
They wouldn't actually. They would probably make like North Stars inspired jerseys. I don't think they could.
With chromed logos.
See, that's the other thing. Minnesota shouldn't have the chrome high tech Winter Stadium Series. They should have the old, in Mike's terms, old timed ice hockey.
Yes.
Aesthetic to them. They should have, laces. They should have, if any team should be wearing vintage white, it should be them. It's, I don't know.
And roundels, lots of roundels.
Oh, you can't go wrong with the roundel, man. No. You can't go wrong with the roundel, I'm telling you.
I don't know if
put
whether
every
or not
damn
to say
team in the league in a roundel.
I don't know whether to say that the Winter Classic's done in terms of like hype, but because I think just with all the other factors that went into this particular game, it wasn't exciting. But we're going back to a city already next year in Boston. Mm-hmm. So it depends on where they play that game, who the Bruins are playing, and what they make them wear, I guess, and then what the weather ends up being that day.
I don't know if this has ever been tossed around. I'm sure it has at some point or another, but why not, just to kind of infuse some life back into it, start having it at neutral sites? Pennsylvania
has always thrown out the idea of playing Flyers, Penguins at Happy Valley.
That would be cool.
Because it's in the dead center of the state.
Right.
And so that they basically meet in the middle sort of thing.
That would be great.
I can tell you, for next year, I'm looking more forward to the Stadium Series in Minnesota, that game, and I'm looking more forward to the Heritage Classic with Winnipeg than I am to seeing Boston again.
I know. And we've had this argument before about NBC needing to expand their range outside their NBC 7. But you can't. I mean, that's just the way the TV network works.
Well, you could. That's what I mean, though. Like, okay, just to give you an example.
You could, but they won't.
Like, okay, say, using the neutral site idea, right? Okay, fine. You've got to have Bruins. You've got to have Blackhawks, Rangers, whoever. Fine. Let's have a Stadium Series doubleheader in Columbus. Okay, the leadoff game will be the Blue Jackets against someone, and then the headline game, or whatever you want to call it, can be Rangers, Bruins. And then, you've kind of covered everything that way. You've got more teams exposure, and you've taken it from just playing it in the same old places every year. I mean, you could do it anywhere, I go back to the Pennsylvania idea. There's a lot of ways to do it, because right now it has just become just another hockey game, and I don't think that was ever the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it, too, is last year, since we had 6 outdoor games, that killed it. And I understand what they were doing with all those 6 games, going into the Olympics, coming out of the Olympics, playing a game in Southern California, trying to spread it all over the place. And it did a lot to hurt it more than it did to help.
Well, there were so many last year that I stumbled onto the Rangers-Devils game by accident. Oh, that's right, they're playing this. I mean, and I'm a Rangers fan, and I was like, oh, that's right. And that was another one that just didn't seem like any big deal.
Yeah, the other thing with that is they burned a lot of their ammunition already. Like, they could have used the Rangers in Yankee Stadium for a Winter Classic, but they wasted it on a Stadium Series game, two Stadium Series games.
And they burned the two most logical Rangers Winter Classic opponents.
Right.
Yeah.
And they went back to Chicago again, and they burned if you're going to go back to Chicago, because Chicago already hosted the Winter Classic. If you're going to do what they're doing with Boston and go back, you wasted the two places you could play it at. Unless you want to play it in like U.S. Cellular Field or something, where the White Sox play. But I don't know. It's
where they played. The other one was at.
They played the first one at Wrigley against the Red Wings, and then they played last year in Soldier Field against the Penguins. Because we had the joke early on in the NFL season.
Exactly, yeah.
That the Blackhawks had more wins in Soldier Field than the Bears did.
They ended up tied, right?
No, the Bears ended up with 2 wins.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still not.
They barely squeaked by the Chicago Blackhawks.
You're an NFL team and you've only got twice as many wins in your stadium as a hockey team does. That's not a good season at all.
But yeah, they burned a lot of they lost a lot of bullets in the chamber last year by going so fast with all these things.
Well, see, that's the thing.
And then they come back, they scale it back, and like I said with the HBO thing, nobody really cared about this one. The Sharks-Kings one is a little bit more interesting, but again, the Kings were already in one of these things last year. I was there. I saw it.
See, that's the thing too.
Be any different.
I don't have a problem with having the quote unquote Winter Classic at a warm weather site, because winter is just a season. It's not like the exclusive territory of cold weather sites. You know what I mean?
But you're going to lose the snow effect.
Who cares?
That's what makes it a lot.
It's old timed iced hockey.
Okay.
I think looking back on the whole thing, they were lucky that they struck gold in the very first one. Because it looked perfect, right?
It did. It did.
It had just the right amount of snow. It was new. It was exciting. Sidney Crosby had the game winner. That game played as perfectly as they could have imagined it to play out. And so that springboarded them into all these other games. And even last year was amazing with the snow and the Red Wings and the splitting the stadium and the huge stadium. That was amazing.
Go Leafs, go! Woo!
And then you come all the way back down to this, where it's teams we've seen in just a shiny baseball stadium. And the other thing that goes against the NHL now that they're holding this on New Year's Day, is now we have the college football playoff.
Exactly.
So it's not just some bowl games you might miss, right? These are playoff games now that you're going up against.
Right. But I will say this, though, with the bowl games, we all kind of thought that the bowl games would be completely irrelevant. I don't think that happened. I don't think they were any less popular than they are. I don't think they gained any popularity, but I don't think it hurt them all that bad either.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't feel too bad missing the Winter Classic to watch the Outback Bowl, because that was a good game.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was just the Bulls, while clearly, they've never really been important. I mean, other than whoever was going to play for the national championship, but that one of the arguments against the college football playoff was always it will make the Bulls irrelevant. I didn't see that happen this year at all, especially in the bigger games like the Cotton Bowl and the Outback's a pretty big one, Peach Bowl and all that. I thought they were all still pretty much the same as they always have been, which is good. What a great couple of sports days it was for me. I went to the Blue Jackets game on New Year's Eve.
Sat on top of the cannon.
That was cool. That was really cool.
I was getting text messages about Greg's journey to get some Timbits.
Oh, for God's sakes, no. I never got close.
Really?
No.
What happened?
I'm telling you, know what? I don't know what it was. Every game I've ever been to, if I wanted Tim Hortons stuff, I walked right up and got it. This game, there was a line. I am not kidding you. It stretched probably.
The word is spreading.
It stretched halfway around the upper bowl of that arena. I mean, I would, because I think, okay, I'll go out after the first period. I'm like, I want some Timbits, so I'm going to go down and get them. Right? I walk down. There's a huge ass line. The picture I sent to you, Mike, was me standing at the front of the line. I didn't show you all that was going on behind me. That was just me, like, kind of walking by and going, "Holy shit!" snapping a picture, and you can never get close. And I thought, you idiots, you have all spent all this money and you're standing out here. I swear, the same guy was in line every time I went out too. It was some goofy-looking guy, the guy that always shows up wearing the wrong stuff. He had like a Browns jersey and a Ohio State hat on.
I like sports.
Yeah. And I thought, you spent money to be at this game, and you've been standing out here in line at fucking Tim Hortons for 2 hours now. But no, I never even got close. I couldn't get over it. It really started irking me, too. I'd go back up, and I'd sit down, and my girlfriend would be like, well, and I'm like, nope, those assholes are still down there. It was but it was a fun time. It was a really good time. The Jackets, it wasn't a great game. The Minnesota Wild.
I see the guy in the Browns jersey in the picture.
Oh my God. And you know what? The fat guy that we talked about a couple months ago, that was the most awesome thing I've ever seen at a sporting event. It was.
Was he there?
He was there. He absolutely was. Right about, I don't know, probably 5 minutes into the third period, they started playing I Can't Touch This, and he just went off. And it was poetry, man. I can't even tell you. It was so awesome.
I've always had the Blue Jackets and the Wild linked in my mind because they were expansion teams in the same year. Is there any sort of rivalry between the two? Can we have a hashtag rivalry night with the Blue Jackets and Wild?
I doubt it.
Now that they're out of the conference, no.
Not only that,
but then again, we had rivalry night Minnesota, Boston.
The Wild are so boring to watch.
It's Zach Parisi and a bunch of guys.
Yeah, well, it was Zach Parisi and who's the other guy that's pretty good on their team?
Ryan Suter.
Suter's pretty good, yeah. Cueva was pretty good. Darcy Kemper's a pretty good goaler, but they play they forecheck and they play the trap, and that's all they do. The first period, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I wasted my New Year's Eve on this. That's how boring it was. But it picked up. It was a good time. And the crowd was great. There was a huge crowd there. I was really surprised. I didn't think that they would do that well.
As far as I understand, Columbus is one of those teams like the Ducks where we always have a game on New Year's, so it's kind of like a semi-tradition.
Oh, it's my new tradition, I can tell you. There's no better way to spend New Year's Eve. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sat over the cannon. I actually got video of the cannon going off because they pulled Kemper with about a minute to go, and I thought, well, if you get an empty netter, I'll know it's going to happen, and I can get the cannon, and I did. I managed. But it was a good time. It was cool. Best middle of the week I've ever had in sports, got to be honest.
Yeah. If the Browns can win their playoff,
that was cruel.
They brought up during the game, the Oregon-Florida State game yesterday. I forget who said it, but they said that game should be the national championship game should be in the Rose Bowl every year, and I completely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect site for it.
It just seems to me to be the bowl game in the U.S. with the most cachet at the college level.
Daddy of them all.
Oh, it's a great location. It's a great stadium. It holds plenty of people, and come on. The national championship's at the Jerry Dome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. I mean, that's not college football. That's a monument to bad taste.
Well, the Rose Bowl, the thing with the national championship game now is that it's like the Super Bowl where you can bid on it. And the Rose Bowl didn't bid on it this year because they wanted to see how it all played out first before they determined whether it was, worth spending the money on it.
Wow.
So I think now that they see that it's they're probably going to be worth the while, I would expect the Rose Bowl to bid, at least probably next year, because they have to do it in years where they're not the semifinal team or a semifinal host. And I think the first one will be next year, because I think next year it's the Peach Bowl.
Probably the Orange Bowl is going to get one, right?
The Orange Bowl at some point. I don't think they wouldn't do it in the Peach Bowl and the Orange Bowl at the same time, right? Because it's on the same side of the country.
Maybe Fiesta and Orange next year. Maybe Peach and Fiesta, something like that.
And then they'll probably or maybe Peach and Cotton. Yeah, I think it's Peach and Cotton, and then the next year would be Fiesta and Orange.
I'm going to be curious
to go back around,
see what the TV ratings were for these two games. I don't know if anybody's heard yet, but I'm going to really be curious to see how it did ratings wise.
I just have it. The Rose Bowl is the national title game every year, and then I would cycle through the other major bowls for the semifinals each year.
I mean, that's every year when it gets to just about sunset, they do that big wide shot of the stadium and the San Gabriel Mountains behind it, and it's the prettiest shot in all of sports.
I mean, the Jerry Dome. I mean, Greg, you called it a monument to bad taste. I'll go a step further and say that the Jerry Dome is disgusting. It disgusts me.
Yeah. I don't know if it disgusts me, but it's just such wretched excess. I guess it has its place in the NFL, but I just don't. When I think of college football, I don't think of the world's largest television set hanging over my head and just all the other things that go with it.
Yeah,
I'm looking up the ratings here for the
prettiest.
Holy hell!
Oh,
the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl posted ratings of 15.5 and 15.3 respectively. Wow, that's not bad.
Compare that to, what did I just say the one for the Winter Classic
2.3.
2.3. Yeah.
Jesus.
Birmingham, Alabama was the top market for both games.
Yeah.
Well, there's a shocker, huh?
Yeah, right.
Averaging a 39.6 for the Rose Bowl, and get this, a 50.2 for the Ohio State Alabama game.
50% of all TV sets in Birmingham.
Yeah, and you know why it was only 50%? Because everybody was probably at somebody else's house. Or it would have been 100%. Yeah. Good Lord. Man,
imagine you're like the one guy that night who just wants to get some shopping done in Birmingham.
Well, you've got the whole town to yourself, basically.
No, but you go to the grocery store, and nobody's going to be there. Hello?
Be a great night to be a criminal down there.
Yeah. Knock off a few gas stations.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, look, that's 15. That's pretty good, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For a national rating, yeah.
You see, if I were Gary Bettman, the league wouldn't be in the sad state that it was. But one of the things, if I were Gary Bettman, I'd see these ratings come in and see, our little paltry 2.3. I'd be like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. It's just embarrassing.
Do it on a different day. That's all you have to do.
Well,
New Year's Eve instead.
I was just going to say New Year's Eve would be a good day for it.
Yeah, that would be a good thing. They do it on New Year's because, it's New Year. It's the first day of the new year.
Right.
Yeah, but like Zach said, they weren't fighting with the college football playoff when they decided to do this.
And when they started to do this, the BCS bowls were spread out over a full week. They would play the Rose Bowl on the first, as always, and I think the Fiesta Bowl was always on the first, unless it was the national championship game.
Nah, the Fiesta Bowl bounced around too. It had gotten to the point where
it was whatever site had the national championship game was also on the first, but it was always the Rose Bowl on the first, no matter what. And then whoever was having the national championship game, then the next day they do like the Orange Bowl, and then the day after would be the Fiesta Bowl, and the day after would be they stagger them out. So you didn't have to worry about, okay, there's one football game at night. We'll do ours in the morning, and it won't be a big deal. There's a bunch of other little bowl games, but we'll deal with that. But now that they put all the bowls on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day,
which is better.
You have the two semifinals on New Year's Day. There's just not enough space.
I'm glad that they've bunched all the bowls back together again because it got ridiculous. I mean, it's better. It may not be.
We're still waiting on the GoDaddy Bowl.
Yeah, who's in that again?
I want to say USF is in it.
I know Toledo still got a bowl game to play.
I don't know.
Isn't that Toledo's game, Craig?
Is that the Toledo, Arkansas, whoever they are, game? Might be. I don't know.
Toledo and Arkansas Tech?
Yeah. I got to be honest, I'm not nearly as excited about that game now as I thought I would have been maybe this time last week. Because I figured, the Buckeyes will get beat, but I'll still have this to watch, right? Not now.
Yeah, the GoDaddy Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Toledo Rockets versus the Arkansas State.
Whatever they are.
Red Wolves.
That's like Saturday, right? Or next. It's the 7th, isn't it? The 4th?
It's the 4th, Sunday.
So they're going to play this bowl game while the NFL playoffs are going on.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Wow, I bet you a lot of people are watching that.
If I can circle conversation back around to the World Juniors for just a second, I did want to comment on the jerseys that Canada wore for their game against the United States.
You got pictures?
Were they just the normal ones, the red with the black shoulders?
The red with the black shoulders of Canada across Ranger style?
Yeah.
I hated those when I first saw them. I have to say, seeing them in action, thought they looked great.
I got to take a look.
Did the U.S. wear the throwbacks?
No, they did not.
No, they didn't. And I think they wore. They wore the throwbacks against Slovakia. That's right.
Yes.
I like those. Those are sharp.
Canada
jerseys, yeah.
They work. I think there's too much black for me, but yeah.
The U.S. needs to go throwback full time because just looking at the game yesterday, I just found the Team USA's uniforms just bland. I know the Navy's closer to the flag, but it's not good.
And what they do for these things that are not in the Olympics, the U.S. because like in the Olympics it's the same jersey, but they had the shield, USA on it, and that was fine. It took up space. But whenever they do the non-Olympic things where they're allowed to wear their actual federation thing, with the U and the flag S and the A, they just switch them out. And I always think that looks. I'm not a big fan of that U.S. logo.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Flag S A.
Right.
It's been around for a while. It's started to show its age.
Definitely.
I mean, there's so much you could do with the idea of a bald eagle clutching hockey sticks in its talons.
I think that's a little Too much.
Yeah, America.
It's got to be an angry eagle, though, right? With a hockey stick?
Well, it's got to be grinning, baring its teeth.
Eagles don't have teeth, do they?
Well, that doesn't matter, Greg.
Oh,
Cardinals don't have teeth. That doesn't stop Louisville.
Yeah, somebody get Brandios on this right away. Let's get a cartoon character put together right straight away here.
And it has to be a bald eagle, angry, with baring its teeth, with a Uncle Sam hat, and a hockey stick and a puck.
Did you guys catch some of the horrific uniforms of some of these bowl games throughout the week?
I saw a glimpse of Baylor's.
Yeah.
Well, Baylor, that's what they wear all the time, though.
What was that?
Oh,
who was it that played
is
in the Potato Bowl or whatever?
It was Air Force and Western Michigan.
Did you see those Western Michigan uniforms, Mike?
No, I did not.
Oh man, somebody
famous
find a link here because
Idaho?
these things were.
Jeez. Oh, here we go.
You got them. Wait till you see these things.
All on the blue turf
Yeah,
of Boise.
yeah. Man, Western Michigan. I see. That's just, whew.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad stuff. Yeah.
Burn it all down. Burn it all down.
See, I was thinking about doing a best and worst of the bowls list like I do at the NFL games, and I thought about it. I'm like, there's
too many bowls.
Too many bowls, first off.
39 total.
And I don't know that I could put together a 5 best list out of that.
Have you seen the famous Potato Bowl mascot?
This has got to be great, right? Is it like that French fry dude from what was that thing that was on Adult Swim? I can't remember the name of it now.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Right, exactly, yeah.
No.
All right, let's see here.
It's a big potato. It's just a big smiling potato
Nice.
with a nose.
That is terrifying. The nose is really what makes it terrifying.
Right? It's just a lifeless stare, the eyes looking in two different directions.
Well, it's potatoes and it's Idaho, so I don't even know what else Idaho's famous for besides potatoes. And Boise State,
Absolutely not.
Famous Idaho potato.
Right. Well, I was
nothing.
eating at Five Guys the other day, and my potatoes were imported from Idaho because they put on a little
Imported from Idaho?
Well, whatever.
Like it's a different country.
In our book, yeah, it seems like it.
Idaho, it's the sovereign state of Idaho.
Right, exactly. Might as well be. No one would notice the difference here.
Now Idaho's got to declare its independence.
Idaho's good for two things: potatoes and sophomoric high school jokes. Idaho, no, Udaho.
Ah. Okay.
Wasn't that also where Napoleon Dynamite was based in?
Yes.
Like, that's what the story was? Yeah, okay, so there's that.
And Uncle Rico played in the state championship game and could throw a football over the mountains.
Okay.
But college football, we've said it before, but the state of uniforms in college football, it has just gone to the point where
Oh, it's awful.
it's terrible. We've passed the point of no return. There's really no going back. The only way that you could ever really rein it in is if there was some sort of rule where it's like, okay, everyone's allowed 2 jerseys, 2 sets of pants, and a helmet.
Well, you know where we've gotten to in the state of college football, when after seeing Oregon's jerseys, some people were saying, "Oh man, those jerseys could really use some black." And they weren't being like ironic about it. They were like, "No, those jerseys need black." It's like, no. We can't go fully around on this. That's the nadir of this.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the tipping point. We're going to go back down the other side.
How far are we away from the first animated logo on a helmet? I'm dead serious. I bet you within 5 years we're going to have an animated logo where it will actually do things on the helmet.
The Oregon Ducks will have like giant LED screens plastered to the sides of their helmets.
If you think about
It
it,
must not be practical on helmets that are getting hit
but
because the lights would eventually go out.
well, maybe. But here's the thing: it wouldn't be that hard to do. I mean, you get some clear. I don't know what you can make that helmet material clear. I'm sure, and you just
you know what they need to do? You know how like there's those souvenir cups that you get at games where if you spin them they're kind of like holographic?
Right, yeah.
But just make that material.
I'm telling you.
You don't have to make like an LED screen.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Do those.
Someone's going to figure out a way to do an animated logo. Wait and see. I mean, and if
I guarantee you Nike has one like in their top secret R&D section.
And if they
It's
don't,
like it's the next big abomination that they're going to unleash on the world.
if they don't already have it, we just gave it to them. I can tell you that.
So who would the first NFL team to go to something like that be?
Oh, the Jaguars.
After Oregon won, did you hear what they did in their celebration with the tomahawk chop and Jameis Winston?
Oh.
Here's an idea of what I'm talking about.
Oh, God.
If you can't hear what they're saying, they took the Tomahawk War Chop and changed the lyrics from oh, 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 to no means no, oh,
oh. Oh, that is cold.
Needless to say, there will be internal discipline from Oregon, as already announced by their coach. But
yeah, probably. I mean, there's no doubt or no denying the humor of it, but probably not the smartest move.
No. So, but speaking of things that happened in that game, after the game, apparently like 70% of FSU's roster did not bother shaking hands.
Yeah, that was pretty classless, I thought.
Yeah,
very much.
I mean, I understand you just got blown up on national TV, but still.
Yeah, but they don't have to.
No, but
it's poor,
especially because there's a giant stage and a trophy and confetti falling. You don't want to stick around for that.
No, but you can still, come on, you can still walk off and shake hands and stuff.
Jameis Winston went and shook hands with Mariota.
I thought that was cool. I mean,
Jameis Winston then also escorted off the field by police officers, which I can't understand the irony in that.
That could be for his safety or because they were serving a warrant, and either one's entirely possible.
Oh,
I can't wait till he's a Tennessee Titan.
What, Mike?
Will you have the same irrational confidence in Jameis Winston that you had in Jake Locker?
No,
Greg?
no.
No?
I think Jameis. Okay, go ahead, Mike. What were you going to say?
Oh, okay. No. So the two. So Lovie Smith from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was apparently at this game.
Well, yeah, he should be.
Okay. Chances that they still pick Jameis Winston.
The Bucs?
Yeah.
No,
they got to go with Mariota, right?
Yeah. He's just so clearly far and away the best quarterback in college football right now.
But here's the thing, though. Do you think that Winston hurt his chances? Well, God, yeah, he kind of did.
What with his I don't know where the football is.
Right.
Oh, no.
And, 26 turnovers in one quarter. Yeah, he probably did hurt his chances a little bit.
Yeah.
It's January 2nd. I'm already in the running for the dumbest question of 2015.
Although he was, apparently after the game during the press conferences, he was answering all the questions as if he wanted to come back next year and, right this wrong. I think he could come back, though.
Oh, he certainly could. I think he'd be smart to come back, actually. I think one more year would do him a world of good.
But would it?
I think it would. I really do. But here's the thing. Do you want to stick around and take your chances that they finally get their act together at the police department or do you get out of town?
The other rumor that's going around is your own Braxton Miller, Greg, might transfer to Florida State.
I've heard Oregon and Florida State.
Because now there's two quarterbacks ahead of him that he's not going to get around. What do you do next year? Who starts? Cardell Jones or JT
Barrett?
JT Barrett, yeah.
I really don't know.
Because Cardell Jones showed that he wasn't there to play school. He was playing football.
Yeah. I mean, and like I've said, he's got his priorities straight. He's like, screw the education, I'm here to play ball, and I like that. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for. I think Barrett probably is the overall more stable package of the two.
Is he?
I mean, as far as...
Cardell Jones has had two starts. The Big Ten championship game where they won 59-0, and a national semifinal against freaking Alabama where you put up how many points did it end up being?
42.
42?
Yeah, just really quick again. We scored 42 points on your ass, Alabama. So take your SEC dominance and shove it, at least for 1 week anyway. The thing about it with what I've heard, though, is that Jones is not as good with the preparation, and he's not as...
The guy who's not there to play school doesn't, prepare?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. You're right, though. He stepped up on two pretty big stages and dominated. Yeah. How do you say you can't start now?
Because he's only a redshirt freshman, right?
Yeah. I think he's the same year as Miller because he redshirted a year because him and Braxton Miller were part of the same incoming recruiting class.
Right. And Barrett's a sophomore, right?
I think.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, too. When Miller was out for the season – the depth chart at the time was set up that Jones was the number 2 quarterback, but Barrett did better, and that's why he ended up starting. So I don't know. It's a good problem to have. I mean, believe me.
Sure.
But I think if I'm Braxton Miller, I'm transferring first chance I get. I've heard Oregon, I've heard Florida State.
There's no way you're playing at Ohio State next year.
No, because he's not a good passer to begin with, and frankly, the team was a lot better without him. I mean, the offense is much more potent without Braxton Miller than it was with him. Which is, they were pretty good with him, but But God, Jones, man, he's got that rocket for an arm, and you can see he can run. I don't know. I don't know what you do. But it's a good problem to have. I'd rather have this than have it be between, who was that guy, Todd Beckman, and some other idiot that, they couldn't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see where Miller goes, though. I think he's a good fit for Oregon, actually, more so than Florida State. All I know is we beat Alabama, and that's all I care about. I will be talking about that for a while. I was probably annoying as hell on Facebook last night.
Posting updates with every single touchdown.
I couldn't help it. I was beside myself with joy.
You should get a Twitter account.
Yeah, I have one. I just don't use it. What was I going to say? Oh God, I forgot. Anyway, it was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I was just kind of in disbelief because, I mean, we talked about it on the football show. I thought they had a chance going into the game, but I didn't think that anything like last night would have happened in a million years. I'm just happy we beat Alabama, and I don't care what happens after this.
Well, we've talked a lot of college football.
Yeah. Should we talk a little NFL playoffs?
I mean, we can. They start tomorrow.
Mike, what happened to your Chargers? Win and you're in. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Win one game and you're in. And they
Chargers going to Charger.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just one of those games where it's just one of those years where you look back where they had that huge. They started off hot and then they had that like 3-4 week losing streak. And then you just look back and you go, if they win one of those games, they're in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just... It's frustrating, but it's doubly frustrating. In fact, even though the Cardinals are in, I have absolutely no faith in them to do anything.
Oh, of course not. They don't have a quarterback.
So I'm actually jumping on...
Ryan Lindley's your starter tomorrow again, by the way.
I know. So I'm like, look, I don't expect them to do anything. So I'm actually jumping on the Panthers bandwagon.
All right. There you go.
I'm honoring the Panthers-Chargers alliance. And...
For a better future. And on top of that, I think it would be fantastic if, like, the 7-8-1 Carolina Panthers won the Super Bowl. Like, they get hot at the right time and they just smoke through the playoffs.
That would be funny. I mean, it would cost me my shareholder Super Bowl ring, but I think I'd be okay with that. To see the Panthers go 7-8-1 and win the Super Bowl, that would be hysterical.
I mean, this is a team that went 2 months between wins, and they are now in the playoffs. I mean, just think about that. They actually got hats. They're going to be walking around with hats that say division champions. That seems wrong.
The first back-to-back division champions in the NFC South ever.
Huh?
And it wasn't even just since the making of the NFC South in 2002. None of the teams that were in that division, the Panthers, Falcons,
Saints, Bucks,
none of those teams had ever won back-to-back division champions at any point in their histories.
Look at the Panthers, the torchbearers for the NFC South. Look at them go.
Yes.
So I'm jumping on the
brightly that torch burns.
So I am jumping on the Panthers bandwagon for this playoff season. I expect them to handle the Cardinals easily. Look, the Cardinals have an excellent defense, but let's not kid ourselves. Without a quarterback, you're not going to do much.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Well, but the thing is, the Panthers, before winning those 4 games, they're still not a good football team.
Well, no.
See, a lot of people that were saying that they actually, the last month or so, they've been a very good football team.
Yeah, it's the last month.
Well, maybe they figured it out, and I don't know.
There's still a scenario where Cam Newton comes in and stinks up the place, and the Cardinals defense gets like a pick 6 or something.
Yeah.
Or gets a turnover deep into the territory to force a field goal because God knows they're not going to score a touchdown. But Ryan Lindley did throw 2 touchdown passes last week against the 49ers. So
this is true.
You never know.
This is true. So Mike's got his bandwagon team. So Zach, once our guys are eliminated, who are we going with?
Well, as you know, Greg, the Colts are going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Did I predict that?
No.
I predicted them going to the AFC Championship, I think.
Yeah, you predicted them beating the Patriots.
I think they will. I really do.
Okay.
Tom Brady, the Tom Brady having the year that he's had. No.
Well, I mean, all I need is another bullet in the chamber to compare Brady to Manning.
Oh, I forgot all about this.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing it.
No.
It's not worth the frustration. It's just not.
I swore off. I'm not having this debate anymore. No. It's nobody ever wins, and everyone's just angry at the end of it.
At the end of the day, they're both two very good quarterbacks. One slightly better than the other. I'll let you decide who you think that is based on your own personal wants.
I would just say this, that as a Cleveland Browns, used to be a Cleveland Browns fan, I would have taken either one of them with no questions asked.
Well, look at the Browns' quarterback history.
You take, how many starters have they had now? Like 27? You take all 28,000 Brown starting quarterbacks, combine the best of each one of them into one quarterback. They're still not as good as Manning or Peyton or Brady. Simple as that.
I think you'd settle for Matt Ryan over anyone else you've ever had.
I'd settle for Jake Locker.
Jake Locker.
Yeah.
If they can keep him healthy, if they can keep him healthy, he can take them places.
Yeah, I'll take Jake Locker.
I don't know about that one, Greg.
Or who's another one? Who's another one that I would take? Wow, there really aren't a lot of good quarterbacks in the league, are there?
What about Joe Flacco, the elite Joe Flacco?
I would absolutely take Joe Flacco over any of those guys. Yeah, absolutely. No question about it.
But see, that's the funny. I mean, that's the funny thing about it. Like, just going to this Peyton Manning thing. Like, they asked Tom Brady about it, and Tom Brady was like, Manning's the best who's ever played. My point being that, if you go up to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning and you're like, are you the best who's ever played? Both of them are probably going to say, no, it's someone else. Whereas Joe Flacco goes on TV, he's like, I'm elite.
This is going to sound nutty, but if I can't get the Colts or the Packers, I want the Cowboys, believe it or not. That's what I'm going to root for.
No, I don't want Jerry Jones to feel vindicated in any way for anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I think these Cowboys are more sympathetic, though, because they've gone through all these years of just sucking.
And now Tony Romo's perhaps been broken a little bit as a person.
Right.
A little bit.
And so this is his redemption.
Yeah. It's fine. My bandwagon team should be pretty obvious. My former quarterback.
Oh, yeah, Manning. Of course.
Peyton Manning, yeah.
With me, it's Packers first, and then in the NFC, and then I think probably...
And the Lions. I like the Lions.
Oh, yeah. How can I forget the Lions? Yeah.
The Lions are going to be who I jump on if the Panthers don't do anything, because...
So, Mike, do you like teams that have a very light blue in their color scheme? Chargers, Panthers.
Powder blue is a fantastic color scheme.
Powder blue, electric blue, Honolulu blue.
Honolulu. It's a very pleasing, calming color scheme. It's a nice contrast to the brutality of the game of football. But no. The thing about the Panthers, about the Lions, is that I'm not a Lions fan, but I know Lions fans in Southern Ontario. You get a few of them. And so I've never really felt any connection to the Lions, but I know people who do, and I'd like them to be happy.
Yeah.
I could live with the Lions going to the Super Bowl. That'd be pretty cool. And that would leave, two teams that haven't made it now? The Texans and the Browns? Oh, no, the Jaguars. Can't forget the Jaguars.
Jaguars.
So you got 32 teams, and at that point, 29 of them will make the Super Bowl. And one of them, of the three that's left, has been around, technically, a lot longer than anybody else. What does that say? Thank God for all the other teams in Ohio.
I want a shirt that says Cleveland Browns established 1999.
Do we have any tabs for this week?
Sure.
You got anything else?
Tax Slayer Bowl's on.
Okay. Who's in that one?
Iowa
and Tennessee. Oh, Big Ten can score.
28-7, Tennessee.
Remember Iowa? We liked Iowa to maybe be the surprise team out of the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, well,
that was one of the few college football predictions we were off base on.
Hey, we're pretty good with most of them, though.
Yeah. NFL,
you also thought the Bucks were making a playoff run.
Hey, they did. They did make a playoff run. You can say what you want, but they were in it until about a month left.
They were like 2. They were
Doesn't
like
matter.
2-9 and still alive.
It doesn't matter. They were still alive. They did exactly what we said they were going to do.
Hey, they had the opportunity.
That's right.
They were in it. That's all that matters. They were competing. When you looked up the In the Hunt
That's right.
graphic, they were in it.
They were in it.
They were in the hunt.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first fuck Ladies and gentlemen, the first of... No, fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs 2015!
Thank you, Mike.
Mike picked up the slack for you there, Greg.
Yes, he certainly did.
The compiler of lists, Buzzfeed,
Oh, yes.
they gave a list of 18 questions that are almost impossible to answer.
Oh, I beg to differ. I bet you we can answer at least 5 of them.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Number 1. Would you rather live one 1,000-year life or live 10 100-year lives?
Well, that's easy. 10 100-year lives.
That's what I said.
Mike?
10 100 years lives.
Oh, see? How impossible was that?
Well, and we align with most of the people that have taken this test. 72%.
We scoff at you, BuzzFeed. That didn't even challenge us. Try again.
Would you rather have legs as long as your fingers or have fingers as long as your legs?
Oh.
Strange, right?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I got to go with fingers because I like being 6 feet tall. Whereas
fingers as long as your legs.
Well, yeah, because the reverse would be that I'm like 4'2", and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I guess I'd go with Greg's answer on that, but I got to give it to BuzzFeed. I really don't have an answer on
Plus,
this
you could dunk without even jumping if you had fingers that long.
Yeah, well, that's that. I went with that. 61% of people went with that also.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit tighter. Would you rather be illiterate but have the power to read minds or just have the ability to read?
Illiterate and the power to read minds. Because I think that if I'm illiterate, all disadvantages I'd have at being illiterate, I could even out
Right.
with reading minds.
I'm going to go...
because you could have somebody read something for you, and then you could read their mind, and you could understand it.
I'm going the opposite. I want to be able to read. I don't want to be able to hear everybody else's thoughts. Forget that. I mean, what if I'm walking down the street and somebody that seems perfectly normal, I hear them thinking, yeah, I'm going to go home and bury another body under my porch. I don't want to know about that shit.
56% aligned with Greg, 44% the other.
Okay.
This one is an even 50-50 when it comes to answers.
All right.
Because this, I think this is an easy answer because just the nature of it, but here we go. Would you rather eat chocolate-flavored poop or eat poop-flavored chocolate?
Ah!
I went with poop-flavored chocolate only because it's not actual poop.
That's my logic exactly, yep.
Yeah, that's... At the end of the day, that's another one where I'd forfeit the question.
It would taste awful, of course.
But it would be...
You're
but
also not putting feces in your stomach.
Exactly. It would be... It would at least be something that would be fit for human consumption.
Exactly. It may taste like a certain thing, but it wouldn't literally be a certain thing, so I'm going with that, yeah.
Right, and if you know of the Comedy Central show Nathan For You, they already did this with like a frozen yogurt shop where they made poop-flavored yogurt.
Well, how would you know? In order to find out what the flavor is, you would have to taste it to.
I assume it tastes like it smells.
Okay. I don't ever want to find out.
No.
Okay. This one's interesting. It depends on what your goals are in life, I guess.
Okay.
You're on a desert island with a beautiful woman or man. Would you rather they are top half fish or bottom half fish?
Bottom half fish, top half human.
I'm with Mike on that one, I think. Yeah.
At least, I mean, like, they can still do stuff with their mouths.
Right. I'm going to have a real tough time working with the bottom half if the top half looks like a trout.
Exactly.
You may not be able to reproduce if they're not bottom half, though.
I don't want to reproduce.
No.
I'm stuck on an island. It's not like I'm going to start my own tribe. Just one other person.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all on the same page. Bottom half fish, 80%.
Right.
With bottom half.
Yeah.
Because,
This is fun. I like this.
Would you rather be 4'5" or 7'7"? I pick 7'7".
Yeah, I pick 7'7".
Do so many more things when you're tall.
I pick 7'7". You can probably, because I know the way the pro wrestling world works. If you're 7'7", they're going to give you a job, even if you suck ass. So you've got gainful employment sealed up.
Right. Same with the NBA.
You can try out for the basketball team too.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're 7'7" and you're mildly coordinated, or mildly, if you're partially or just a little bit coordinated, you've got a gig. So yeah, I'm going with 7'7".
Yeah. Surprisingly, 56% went with 4'5".
Easier to find clothes. Is what I would think.
I think it's all stores. And if you're going to make a bunch of money by being a tall professional athlete, you can get your own clothes made.
Exactly. That's my thinking on it.
Would you rather be able to run at 100 miles per hour or fly at 10 miles per hour?
Oh, give me the flying every time.
Yeah, flying.
Flying's easy. Yeah, 69% with
Yeah,
flying.
absolutely.
Just think over the course of your day how many things, how many like little conveniences you could achieve if you could fly. Like, you don't even have to fly fast. Just, getting over obstacles and stuff.
Well, not only that, but there's only really one good reason to run, and that's if somebody's chasing you. Other than that, I don't see any purpose in it. I'm going with flying because that would just be fun. And nobody would ever notice you. You'd be up in the air. Nobody's ever going to think to look for you up in the air. Mm-hmm. You've got the element of surprise on pretty much everyone at that point.
Exactly.
Next one. This one's disgusting. This one's
the
terrible.
poop one?
I was just going to say, that one wasn't right.
No,
exactly.
This one's terrible. Would you rather sweat mayonnaise or have to poop a softball?
I'd poop a softball.
Yeah, me too. I'm with Mike on that one. The softball's a one-time deal, right?
Yeah.
I would assume that sweating mayo would seem like it'd be a more constant thing. And mayonnaise is disgusting on every level.
I hate mayonnaise.
Yes.
The smell of it alone, just I bite my lip, I deal with the softball pooping,
right,
and that would be it.
Right,
yeah.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah, you get it out of the way once. And number 9. By the way, 58% chose pooping the softballs. Number 9. Would you rather have a dragon or be a dragon?
I'm going with have a dragon. I mean, that's a cool thing. That's a chick magnet. A dragon? Come on.
Yeah. If
you are a dragon, you can fly. You can torch cities.
Yeah, but you're not a sentient being. You're just like flying around.
There are plenty of fantasy universes where dragons are sentient.
Okay, right, well, it depends on what dragon you're going to be.
I'm
if you're going to be
assuming
Game of Thrones dragon versus Smog.
I'm basically assuming your basic garden variety dragon. That's just a lizard that can fly and breathe fire. So yeah, I'm going with I want to have one.
But dragons are also they're known to be kind of fickle creatures. They could turn on you.
I've got cats, dude. They can't be any more fickle than a cat.
I equate dragons with cats most often. Yeah.
But if I had a dragon, then I could claim to be the rightful king of Westeros. So
you could.
I don't get that. I'm sure it's a Game of Thrones reference, but it sounds good to me.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think being a dragon would be pretty awesome, but having a dragon would be equally awesome.
I think having a dragon, you can go on Jimmy Kimmel, you can get on TV shows. There's a lot more you can do with that. You can capitalize on it.
Here's the thing, though. If you're a dragon, here's the downside. You always run the risk of some no good, party of adventurers or angry mob of villagers trying to cramp your style just because you wanted to torch a few buildings.
Right. I'm with Mike on that. So yeah, I want to own a dragon. I don't want to be one.
78% wanted to own a dragon.
Yeah. See.
Would you rather be sexually attracted to fruit or have Cheetos dust permanently stuck to your fingers?
I'm going to go with the sexually attracted to fruit thing.
Well, yeah, I thought about it for a second, and my first impulse was to go with the Cheetos thing.
Right, so was mine.
But if you think it through for a second, the fruit thing you can do in private. No one ever has to know about it. So
yeah,
I'm with Mike on that
American Pie, you just have to heat up a grapefruit and then you're okay.
There you go.
The Cheetos dust, that would be a constant annoyance.
At first glance, it seems like the Cheetos dust is a
constant snack.
Well, that's another way to look at it. I think I got to go with the fruit.
You think that's the way to look at it until you try doing anything like signing a receipt or handling money
or putting on one of your white jerseys. Any jersey, really.
Oh, yeah.
You can't
never own white jerseys. Or you just have to be a fan of teams that have orange.
Yeah, you have to become a Flyers fan.
Oh, that's not happening.
Or you could wear the Ducks Stadium Series jersey.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
But yeah, everything's a hassle if you've got the Cheeto dust in your fingers at all time. And like I said, the fruit thing you can keep kind of private. So yeah, I'm going with the fruit.
Until you're, out in the fruit market shopping for groceries and you have to hide your boner.
Well, yeah, but see, again, though, you can make a conscious effort to stay away from the produce section of the store.
You could just go to the 24-hour grocery store late at night when everyone who's there is either a drug addict or a pervert, and then you really won't stand out that much.
Or attracted to fruit, just like you are.
insane. All right. Number 11. I went against the majority with this because I just think it would be awesome. Would you rather never have to worry about money or live in a world with Pokemon?
Live in a world of Pokemon.
That's what I chose.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about Pokemon, so I got to go with the money because I would love to not have to worry about it.
But then I also thought you would never, if you become the greatest Pokemon trainer, that you're born to be the very best, the best that ever was, then you can never have to worry about money because you'd be so wildly successful at training Pokemon.
And
Exactly.
If I understood Pokemon better, I might go that route, but because I don't, I have to go with the money.
85% went with the money.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
But that's because they're not imaginative like you guys are.
I've always dreamed about being the very best. Like
No,
no one ever
was.
I mean, to catch them was my real test, but to train them was my cause. Anyway. I will travel across the land. Anyway. Number 12. Would you rather speak any language fluently or be able to talk to animals?
Oh, talk to
language
animals.
fluently.
Talk to animals, no question
Language fluently. I could give a damn. I don't need to know what a dog thinks.
Oh, I see. I'm fascinated by what animals think.
They probably don't think about a whole lot. Like, if you ask a cat, hey, how do you feel today?
Cat thinks about me.
I'm feeling kind of tired. Probably going to take a nap. And then I'm probably going to knock over your stuff off the shelf.
You're never sure. You've got an animal, a dog or a cat. You think it's happy. It seems reasonably happy. It just eats and it does its thing, and it's like it's fine. But there's also a chance that it's sitting there going, I'm stuck in this fucking prison I'm never going to get out of, and life sucks. You just don't know, and that's what I'd want to find out.
I don't want to know what my cat thinks of me secretly, because cats, as you said, Greg, are fickle bastards. I wouldn't want to know. So I would just rather be fluent in any language, and then you could do anything.
But come on, you don't want to know what a chimp thinks? I mean, what if a chimp is like this close to being as smart as humans but just can't seem to communicate it? What if you go to see a chimp and you read his mind and he's sitting there thinking, why can't these people understand me? I said it 1,000 times. You don't get it. I don't want another banana. Then
you got to kill the chimp because he's obviously the smart chimp that will lead the ape revolution.
Well, this is true too, but I'm more fascinated with what the animals think. I'm sorry.
51% chose speaking any language. So.
Really? Okay, so I'm not that far off the mark. Yeah.
Would you rather fart popcorn or have your past and future web browsing history available to everyone?
Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn, definitely.
Popcorn.
No doubt about that one. I got to think that was definitely a one-sided answer, right?
Yeah, 75%.
Yeah.
Fart popcorn.
And the 25% people that don't care about their internet history being exposed aren't that interesting anyway.
This one is also kind of... No, true. This one's kind of weird, but I think the answer is also pretty obvious, as is the percentage. Would you rather have a vagina on your forehead or have a row of penises down your back like a stegosaurus?
I'm going to go vagina on my forehead.
Really?
Yes, because I could wear a hat, or, I could get into, like, those Star Trek conventions without having to dress up. I mean, like, I'm just some weird alien.
I'm with Mike on that one. I'm going the same route, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I went with...
Well, it depends. Is it obvious through the shirt that you have a row of penises down your spine?
Well, it depends on the shirt.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Ever.
That's a tough one. I suppose a baggy shirt you can get
the question
rid
to
of.
ask is, when you get excited, does your back, spike out?
Yeah, but you'd have so many of them, it wouldn't seem like what it is.
Or would you be like some kind of weird animal, like your defense mechanism?
Like a hedgehog.
Like a hedgehog, yeah.
Anyway, you guys are on the wrong side of history. 74%.
Yeah, what else is new?
Stegosaurus back.
Okay. I think I could go either way on that one.
I think having it on your forehead would be... First, it would end my career in TV pretty quickly.
or enhance it. You got to look at it two ways here.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty obscene. I don't know if you could have a live vagina on TV.
Come on, that would be awesome. Yeah, you're right. You're probably right. It would kill your TV career.
Number 15. Would you rather have a bell go off every single time you're aroused? Or feel a sharp pain in your side every single time someone says your name?
I'm going to go with the second one, because very few people actually call me by my full first name.
That's a technicality, though.
No, if they just say your name in general.
Well, my name is Michael, but people call me Mike.
Yeah, he doesn't even like to be called Michael. I asked him one time. I'm going with the bell ringing. What do I give a shit? I mean, if my name was Horatio or something, I'd probably go the other way, but Greg's pretty common, so I'm going to stick with the bell, yeah.
I go with the
until
bell
it starts
too, I think.
going off, until it goes off at, like, church or something, and then it's just off.
Well, but see, then people would be like, why is the bell ringing? They
It's
don't
an
have to
angel,
know.
like in
They don't have
It's
to
Wonderful
know.
Life, yeah.
It's
don't have to know why.
an angel got his wings.
That Greg must be just a really great guy, because every time he comes around, the bells start ringing, and there's just angels everywhere, see?
Number 16. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? I pick shout.
Yeah, shout.
I pretty much shout all the time anyway, so
Right.
I'll just
I have a loud voice as it is.
So do I. I think we all do.
And people might not hear you be like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? You'd be like, what?
I'm going to
Yeah.
shout. I shout anyway, yeah.
If I could only shout, I don't think my life would change all that much.
I don't think mine would change a bit.
Right. Which is interesting. 84% went with the whisper.
Losers.
Yeah. This one's a real quandary. Have sex with a goat and no one knows you did it. Or not have sex with a goat, but everyone thinks you did.
Oh, man, that is a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
That is a really tough one.
I think I got to go with the not having sex with a goat, but everyone thinks you did. Only because I would know that I didn't actually have sex with a goat. It's
Yeah.
just that everyone has the wrong opinion.
See, that's where I'm
really
going.
media.
That's where I'm going to, because one, you avoid the bestiality, which is always a plus,
Right.
and two, everyone might think you did it, but if you play your cards right, you could spin that to your advantage. Like, oh man, that guy's fucking crazy.
Exactly. You might have people thinking he's just an air compressor with some Crisco away from being a really good time. I got to go with that one too. I can't imagine having sex with a goat. I don't
Right.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to trash our reputations, I suppose.
Yeah, 57% went with us.
All right, good.
So now the final question, and this one is... I don't know what to do with this one.
Okay.
Would you rather watch your parents have sex every day of your life or join in once to stop it forever?
Pass.
Okay, the first 17 were pretty easy. This one is actually impossible, I think. When you say join in, you mean you actually have to perform with them?
I would assume that's what they're meaning.
Okay, here's my logic on this, okay? I'm going to go with watch them every day because you'll get used to that. You're never, ever going to get used to have to join in.
But you only have to do it once.
I don't care. That's like having sex with a goat. It doesn't matter if you only did it once. It's still there. You can't ever get rid
What
of it.
kind of life would you live even if you did it once? Like afterwards.
Right.
You
And
never
well, then
recover.
no one would have to know, I guess.
No, sorry.
You wouldn't have to see
You
it
know,
every day.
they would know.
I will watch every day before I'll actually join in. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's just no way.
I'm passing. I refuse to answer.
It's tough. I mean, they both have their slight advantage and other have disadvantage.
I think they're all complete disadvantage. It's just to a lesser degree, but yeah. Wow. Come on, Mike. You got to answer. Let's go. Come on. I did. Don't leave me hanging here, guys.
If I had to answer, I'd go with Greg.
Okay.
I mean, you could become desensitized to it
Right.
over time.
Right. I mean, we see things like First Take on the air every day, and eventually you just go, whatever. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I guess I got to go that way.
What did the poll?
73% went with you guys.
Yeah. There's just, like I said, there's one thing that you do is a lot harder to get rid of than something you see every day.
Well, then wouldn't that make you revisit the goat answer then?
No, because I don't care if people. Wow. It's one thing to have people think you had sex with a goat. It's an entirely different thing to
Actually have sex with your parents.
Right, exactly. That's the way I'm seeing it. That was a tough one. I got to say, that was the toughest one of the bunch. There's really no good answer to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And on that note, I think we can call it a day.
Yeah.
I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah.
Nice start to the tabs in 2015.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when there's no sports tabs to talk about. You get to know us a little bit better.
For better or worse, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. Mike, any news on the Geek Show? We've had people asking.
We'll have the 2 episodes to you, Greg, ready to be published within the next day or 2.
Okay.
And then once that's done, we will start off 2015 with episode 45 and go from there.
We will see you all again on Tuesday for another rousing rendition of Basically a Football Show, where I'm guessing we'll probably talk a little bit more about the college football playoff.
We'll talk more about the actual games themselves.
And of course, the NFL playoffs, which will be taking place. Real quick, guys, let's predict the games this weekend.
Well, you and I already did. We got Panthers. I think we both had the Steelers beating the Ravens, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did we both have the Colts beating the Bengals?
Yes.
And then Cowboys over Lions?
Yeah, I think. Okay, yeah, Mike, you differ on any of those?
I'm gonna pull for sentimentality. Lions over Cowboys.
Okay.
In Ravens, Steelers, I'm going with the Ravens because they seem to be that annoying team that probably shouldn't have gotten in but did, and now they won't go away easily.
Yeah,
I hope they go away just as easily as they happen to get in.
And then Panthers are going to beat the quarterbackless Cardinals. And who was the other one? Colts
Bengals.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be the Colts because they are far and away superior to the Bengals as a team in general. I would say that. And you've also got to factor in the fact that the Bengals forget how to play football come playoff time. So
yeah, I mean that's what I'm banking on. That's what I'm banking on. I'm not banking on talent against talent.
Oh, we should also probably, before we end this, Le'Veon Bell will not be playing for the Steelers this weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference to me. I still think the Steelers will beat them.
Yeah, I do too, but just thought I'd throw that in. Okay. On that note, we're going to call it a day. You can follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to our website, basicallyasportshow.com. What else do we do? Oh, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, the whole bit. And that's it. We're going to call it a day. Any final thoughts, guys?
Go Colts.
Glorious turn of victory comes up in a few months, except no imitations.
Exactly. The Buckeyes beat Alabama. I'm still riding that high. We'll see you next week.
Please hang up and try again.